Rakuten TV is heavily investing in fast channels now, positioning itself as a leader in Europe. What prospect does this model offer both for you as a company and for the viewer?
That's true. I mean, fast has become a significant portion of our business, and we're very glad to have entered this space quite a few years ago, back in 2018 when we started studying what the US market was doing, to then having launched it in our territories here in Europe in 2019. So it's been quite a while now since we first launched. For the user, I think it's great because, especially in more recent times of the economic crisis that has happened, it's very useful for the customer to have the opportunity to access content free of charge, and you can see that already, the outcome happening throughout these past years with the churn rates on the subscription services out there. So there's a limit to how many subscription streaming service people can stack up, and once they start getting more familiarized with these fast services and this amazing content that's coming up free of charge, they're willing to watch that despite the ads and even within the ads as well, particularly because being on CTV, they're more relevant to the audience as opposed to in traditional free-to-air television, where it's primarily that big cannonball reaching out to a massive amount of audience and less segmented. So for the consumer, for me, I think it's quite a big benefit.
Yeah, it's a different experience. In fact, I want to ask you, the market is increasingly competitive nowadays. Can we say that Rakuten has identified a very specific direction by choosing to focus in this type of entertainment that gives the public a different experience than the competitors?
Absolutely. So we're not the only ones, right, in the market doing that. There's definitely other big companies out there, either part of the TV manufacturers themselves having their own fast platforms, or also other OTT apps such as ourselves also providing that. So but I think that's good because overall it also helps accelerate that transition to explain what fast is to mainstream audience and how to access it. It also helps accelerate the advertising budget shifting from traditional TV to CTV, and all of that results into bigger and better brands, TV channels, or single IP channels coming over to fast.
I was referring to them. Yeah.
Good.
And about RTV Sci-Fi, this channel has recently arrived in Italy. Do you want to tell us something about it?
Sure. So Rakuten TV Sci-Fi, it's a project that we've been working for a while. It's a channel that we strongly believe in, and the reason why is purely due to the data-driven analysis that we've done throughout these past years. So aside from the existing third-party fast channels that we license, we also build fast channels ourselves. So we would do the content syndication. We rebrand it as Rakuten TV XYZ and launch it on our platform and also in other third-party platforms. And I think we've done a really good job on movies. That's also a result of years and years of relationship with the Hollywood studios and the European film distributors. But we had noticed that sci-fi movies were performing really well on our AVOD section. Also on movie genre channels that we had, such as action or top movies. And we didn't have a sci-fi movie channel dedicated at the time. So, the performance of those movies throughout these other sections gave us the confidence that it deserved its dedicated fast channel. But aside from that, it wasn't just a matter of the data we had seen in our own platform, but also looking outside within the competitive landscape. Movies for sure is a genre that's quite crowded. You have many competitors offering it. But when you look specifically at sci-fi, there aren't that many options out there, and quite frankly, not as with high caliber Hollywood or European titles with well-known casts as the movies that we've managed to secure. So, we understood that there's a strong fan base behind that genre that very strongly connected to that type of content. So therefore, in terms of viewership as well, we're heavily betting that there will be a stronger commitment. And we decided to take that shot, and we'll also be launching in other markets pretty soon, aside from Italy.
Yeah, that's interesting. There's a lot to explore. I agree with you.
Yep.
And as you said before, Rakuten TV also produces original contents such as TV series and documentaries and reality shows. Are you also thinking about new formats for the future?
Yeah, I mean, it's always an open discussion. Take a look at what we've done since back in 2019 when we first launched our originals with Barcelona's FC Matchday series. So that was a feature documentary series. For many years, we were focusing in that category in sports documentaries because, I mean, not only Rakuten TV, but Rakuten as a group is very strongly connected with sports. And throughout the last 1.5 or 2 years, we've also started to dip our toes into other genres such as reality content with Discovery Canary Islands, or also talent shows such as Hairstyle, which we also have the Italian version, or Makeup Stars. We are open to explore other subgenres that might come through as an opportunity for originals if we feel that editorially it makes sense for the platform. It does connect with our audience, but also B, is there a commercial appeal from a sponsorship perspective, a brand that wants to associate themselves with that. And we noticed that worked really well with reality and talent shows. So as in, brands wanting to be attached to the project. And from a platform and a viewership perspective, it's also interesting because of the engagement levels of the repeat views. So people are always coming back to see what's going to happen next with the following episode. And we want to do more of that as well and not be limited to just one category.
Yeah. And compared to even just 10 years ago, more and more audiovisual contents are being produced now in our present. So I want to ask you 2 questions. How difficult, in your opinion, has become to capture the public interest? And also, if, in your opinion, is it true that people no longer become attached to what they watch, or maybe they simply need different experience, as you said before, and good stories?
So to answer your first question, it's extremely difficult. I mean, it's great to see how much has changed throughout these decades of content, and it's just an ocean of content available for people to choose from. So of course, that's great for the consumer, but on the other hand, it's also too much noise. So how do you stand out? And part of that, what we try to do is, when we look at our platform, and I know we're talking a lot about fast here, is precisely to give that freedom of choice to the user. So when they step in Rakuten TV, you pretty much have 3 options. Like, you can either consume content through our transactional VOD store, so you can buy or rent movies, and there are like thousands of movies from all the way to deep catalog to the latest fresh new releases just off the cinemas a month or a month and a half ago, with no subscription. So you just pay one off for what movie you want to watch. Or we have AVOD, so you can watch on demand for free with ads. So particularly for a different type of audience from Fast that knows more or less what they want to see. And then lastly, Fast channels lineup offering, where it's less about having to think it through of what to watch. It's more a passive viewing. And what we try to do there is also cover up all of the genres, not only movies, but kids, sports, lifestyle, documentaries, entertainment, to try to translate into a proper TV experience. So I think having those three buckets helps us try to funnel through the amount of content that's out there, the amount of choice, in hopefully in a clear and simplistic way for the user through our UI to understand, okay, today this is the type of content that I want to watch, and then from there on, hopefully have them come back over and over again.
Okay, thank you. It was two questions in one, so thank you.
No worries.
Last question. In Japanese, as you know, Rakuten means optimism. And after all, a better future also comes through contents that are capable of inspiring us, the viewers who are experience them. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so I think a lot of what we do in the originals, when we're selecting projects, tap into that ethos of the company, of the group, right? Messaging of positiveness, overcoming challenges. So many of those originals, when we were selecting those sports documentary features of athletes that they had to go through a difficult time in their life. It was either prejudice or mental health issues or other physical challenges. We always found a connection to the values of the company, and that's part of the criteria when we're looking into these projects for originals. And then as for the rest of the platform, in terms of the content offering, again, it goes back into that freedom of choice that we mentioned. Whatever makes you happy. We want you to have a good time, enjoy the platform, consume the type of content that you want, and in the type of access, either transactional or free with ads, and have the most positive experience possible.